Greetings. My name is Lenon, and I greet you with lots of love, peace, and positivity. Welcome to episode number 3 of the philosophy of Lenon. I want to say the sun is just getting ready to set over here on the horizon. The wind is picking up a little bit, so if you hear any wind noise coming through the microphone, just pay it no mind. I'm out in nature. Sometimes I do videos at home, but I came out here today because I needed to be out here. It's very important for me, especially at this point in time, to spend as much time as I possibly can out in nature. You know, speaking of nature, the human species, we have these natural tendencies and we have these aspects of ourselves that are closely tied to nature and what people would call Mother Nature, which is tied to the earth. And there's a reason for that, and that is what I call the autonomic functioning, these aspects of ourselves as human beings that they're going to happen whether we are consciously aware of them or unconsciously aware of them. And one of those things, for instance, is like breathing. We don't necessarily have to think about when we take breaths. We just do that, blinking our eyes. It's autonomic. It's something that we don't have to think about. When we go to sleep, it's not like we have to say, you know what, sleeping is something that I need to do. No, it's going to happen regardless. I mean, you can try to fight it as long as you want to, but you're going to fall asleep. Eating is another example of this as well. The autonomic functioning of the biological entity that we call human being. This autonomic functioning in our human biology, if you will, is also tied to a spiritual component too, which I will talk about in a future video. However, I want to talk about something that deals with the autonomic functioning of the biological entity that we call the human being, especially as it relates to how it is that we duplicate ourselves here on planet Earth. And when I say we duplicate ourselves, I'm not talking about cloning. I'm talking about our ability to recreate life here in the material. This is something that is going to happen whether someone is conscious of it or unconscious of it. It's going to happen because it's ingrained in our very DNA, if you will. It's an aspect of our physiology. It's an aspect of our biology as biological entities that we call the human being. And this particular thing that I'm talking about is sex and sexual intercourse. And, when I say duplicate, I want people to understand that sex and sexual intercourse, it can have many different functions, but ultimately, and the ultimate expression of it is to be able to create life. Okay? And do you know that when we create life, for instance, when my wife and I created our first son, what we were doing was we were duplicating ourselves in physical form. And my son, therefore, is a manifestation of me. He is the masculine projection of me into the future, you see. We have also had 2 other sons and then 2 daughters. My 2 daughters are the feminine representation of me in the future. Does this make sense? And also the sun is beginning to set, so everything's going to change. The color here is going to change a little bit. I hope you don't mind. I love it when it does that. But to be able to duplicate ourselves, sex and sexual intercourse provides this opportunity, this miraculous opportunity for us to do this. And it should not be taken lightly. It is not something that we should just engage in just because. See, a lot of the programming that we get is to cause us to engage in sex and sexual intercourse just because. In many cases, unconsciously. Now, let me make this distinction before I move on, because I have a quote that I want to read. But sex and sexual intercourse, sex can be many different things. Sexual intercourse, more specifically, is dealing with a penis entering into a vagina. Okay, so when a person said, I had sex with someone, that can mean a whole lot of different things nowadays. But when someone says sexual intercourse, that's very specific, at least from my perspective, and that's dealing with penis entering into the vagina and the potentiality to create life. Okay? Now, I want to talk specifically about a quote, and I have a quote book that I'm putting together, and one of the quotes in there is, sexual intercourse cannot give meaning to your relationship. It is the quality of your relationship that gives meaning to sexual intercourse. And I want people to understand this because there is this misconception, and it's a program that we get when we're very young, that somehow if you have sexual intercourse with someone, it gives meaning to your relationship. That all you have to do is have sexual intercourse with them. Or sex for some people, just have sex with someone, and automatically, magically, your relationship is going to be more meaningful. All of the issues are going to be resolved. All of the negative aspects of the relationships are going to disappear. All you have to do is have sexual intercourse, and that's that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is absolutely untrue. It is totally untrue, because there's plenty of people who are having sexual intercourse or quote unquote sex, and it's not benefiting the quality of their relationship. And there's a reason why. Because the truth of the matter is that the quality of your relationship is what gives meaning to sex and sexual intercourse in the first place. See, if you have sex or sexual intercourse with someone that you do not know and you never see them again, did it really mean anything? Is it substantive? But if you're in a relationship and the quality of your relationship with that individual that you are having sex or sexual intercourse with is positive and you're building upon it, it's going to give new meaning and true value to the act of sex or sexual intercourse. Does this make sense? We've got it so twisted nowadays. It's part of the psychosexual mind control programming that we've been given. And this is problematic, especially for women, because many women and young girls nowadays, of course, are led to believe that if you want the relationship to work, all you have to do is have sexual intercourse or participate in some sexual activity, and that will transform the quality of the relationship. This is not true. And many women and many girls believe this to be true, and as a consequence, what they experience after the fact, my goodness gracious. If you are a woman and you have had sex or sexual intercourse believing that somehow it was going to transform the quality of your relationship at that time, will you do me a favor and post a comment below and share? Because maybe something that you will say here, another woman or a girl, some girl who's younger, will come see this video and they can read through it and learn something. Because see, sometimes it's difficult for young girls or women to hear this being stated from a man. Sometimes if it's stated from a woman, it means more. And I'm not trying to devalue what I'm saying here coming from a man, but I just want it to be clear. The reason why I'm saying all this is because it's so important that this concept of protection is understood. For you men who are looking at this, one of your primary responsibilities is to protect all life, is to protect all that is good. That includes women. Okay. Now, if you haven't been in a positive relationship, you may not understand that concept. If you haven't been bestowed upon the responsibility of being a protector, and this can go in many different levels, not just physically, it can be spiritual protector, it can be an emotional protector. This means that you always are looking out for the best interests of women in these categories. You want to make sure that they are safe. Okay, so part of the reason I wanted to share this particular quote in this particular video is because men have to understand this dynamic. But then also there are things that we can say as men and things that you can say as women based upon your experiences that someone else may learn from so that they won't fall victim to the same type of experience. More specifically, this notion and this belief that somehow if you have sexual intercourse with someone, it is going to change the quality for the better of your relationship. It doesn't work that way. See, the relationship is the foundation, not sex or sexual intercourse. How is it that something that is not foundational is going to transform the quality of that which is foundational? It doesn't work that way. See, if you put a house on top of a foundation and you change the carpet inside the house, is that going to change the foundation? No. See, the house is like having sex or sexual intercourse with someone because someone told you that if you do that, it's going to benefit the relationship and it's going to make the relationship work. No, that's like saying just you change the carpet, it's going to change the foundation. No, the relationship is the foundation. Therefore, if the relationship, it is the relationship that gives value to the house. Because it doesn't matter how much carpet you put inside the house, how many nice things that you have inside the house, if the foundation is faulty, it's not going to matter. First earthquake to come along, that house is coming down. Same thing with male-female relationships. You see? Does this analogy make sense? The foundation is the relationship. So the quality of the relationship is what impacts the value of the sexual intercourse, the sex or the sexual intercourse. But we've just been told the opposite. We've been totally switched around. And see, the problem with that is that when women begin to believe that somehow all they have to do is have sex or sexual intercourse with someone in order for that person to love them, or that now they can be in a relationship with them, they're having sex and sexual intercourse with individuals wherein it never materializes what it is that they desired in the first place. They didn't necessarily desire the sexual intercourse. They desired the relationship. So this is to say that there are many women out there and girls who have had sexual intercourse believing that somehow it was going to transform the nature of their relationship with the individual that they were having sexual intercourse, or that it was going to materialize an actual male-female relationship. And what ends up happening is what they desired, ultimately having a male-female relationship, didn't materialize. But then what did they do in the process? They violated themselves. Ultimately, they've given the most sacred place on planet Earth, which is the vagina and the womb, over to someone who never even cared about them in the first place. So what I'm saying is that not only is it a violation on the woman's part, but the violation is based upon programming that she had been given. But it's also a violation on the male part who partook in that act in the first place. Does this make sense to people? It's a violation. When we begin to restructure our orientation as it relates to male-female relationships and understand that it's the quality of the male-female relationship that actually gives significance to sexual intercourse, we don't go the opposite way around. In other words, what do we begin to do? We establish positive male-female relationships in the first place. That's the foundation. And then everything you build on top of that adds to the quality. The quality itself also gives insight as to the potentiality of what you're building. Does that make sense? In other words, if you set a foundation that is based upon a positive male-female relationship, everything that you put into that house is going to enhance the quality of the relationship, right? But ultimately, it's the foundation that gives significance to everything that is inside of the house. Does that make sense? Sexual intercourse cannot give meaning to your relationship. It is the quality of your relationship that gives meaning to sexual intercourse. So the focus, therefore, should be on male-female relationship, the quality of the male-female relationship. Is it good? Is it allowing both people to grow? Is it healthy? Is it moving in a particular direction that is beneficial for both people? You see? That is what is key. Sexual intercourse, sex and sexual intercourse is something that really is like the icing on the cake, if you will. That's really all it comes down to. It can't be the foundation. It can be a nice roof, if you will, but it cannot be the foundation. So I hope this is beneficial to you all. And again, I want to encourage you, if you're a male and you have, a comment that you'd like to post here, please do so. And more specifically, for you women out there, because I know of so many women who believed and were led to believe that if they had sex with someone, that it was going to materialize a male-female relationship, a positive male-female relationship, or that if they were already in a male-female relationship wherein it was struggling, that all they would have to do is have sexual intercourse or sex, and those issues would be resolved and the relationship itself would become positive. How many of you women have done that? How many of you men out there who are looking at this, if you have courage, use that to your advantage? If you have courage, post below. For you women out there, maybe you can say something in this video below that will help someone else, another woman, or potentially a girl, a younger girl, so that she won't experience the same thing. And let me say this before I close out. I have two young daughters, and they're young. I mean, 5 and 3, or almost 3. Wow, are they 5? Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. My babies are getting big. They're still young, but these things matter. These things matter to me now. And the thing that I found is that once, as a father, when you deal with your daughters, you start to care about other girls too. It's not that I didn't care before, but you start caring even more because you want all of the girls, the little girls, to be protected. Not just your babies. You want all the little girls to be protected. And of course, I have sons. I want them to be protected. But more specifically, when it comes to these types of issues, it's vitally important that my daughters are going to be given the information that they need so that they can make the adequate decisions later on. So in other words, that they can be safe, because that's really what this comes down to, where they can be safe. And that's why it's so important. One of you women out there who are viewing this, there may be something that you can say that someone else may see today, tomorrow, a year, 2 years from now, that will keep them safe. Okay? So if you can, please post a comment, leave a comment below. You can also post a video comment if you like as well. All right? Okay, my name is Lenon Honor, and I send you lots of love, peace, and positivity. Thank you so much for viewing this video here on Lenon Honor Films on YouTube. My websites are LenonHonor.com and LenonHonorFilms.com. I'm also on Facebook under Lenon Honor, and I also have a Facebook fan page, so you can add me there as well. This was episode 2 of the philosophy. No, excuse me. This was episode number 3 of the philosophy of Lenon Honor. Send you lots of love, peace, and positivity. Until next time, please take care. Peace.